So I'm back this week with my review of last week's book, and that is The Winter Garden by Kristin Hannah. And Kristin Hannah is an author that I've done a video about before, and she is, I think, one of my favorite authors thus far, and this is only due to the fact that her writing is so emotionally triggering, and it's the words and the description and the characters and the settings are all so real, for lack of a better word. Like, it makes you feel like you're in that situation. You see things that you see things through words that you've never experienced before, and that is the Kristin Hannah effect, for like as much as I can describe it. And I was introduced to Kristin Hannah with The Nightingale, and that was set in Nazi-occupied France during 1939 to 1944, and that was like during the World War II. And so from there I realized like what kind of writing she has, what kind of emotions she tries to get out of the readers, and what she's looking for is tears. She wants your tears, and successfully she got my tears from both books. So there's that. So that brings me to last week's read, which was The Winter Garden by Kristin Hannah, and this book was just as exceptional as The Nightingale. I think The Nightingale had a little bit more, I don't know what it was about it, I think it touched my soul a little differently, because I think that was my first book of hers. But this book, just as good, just as close. And this one, so to give you some background, it's also about a family of a mom, a dad, and two daughters. And the mom has her own background that we kind of get into during the later stages of the book. But as of the beginning, it's literally about the family dynamics of how there's a really healthy relationship between the father and the two daughters, but there's a very negative, very unloving, uncaring kind of relationship between the mother and the two daughters. And this book kind of touches on the fact that while it is healthy to have a good relationship with your father as a daughter, it is just as equally important to have a very healthy relationship with your mother, because of how you become as an individual later on in life as an adult. And so this book kind of follows along now towards the later stages of adult life, where the two daughters are now grown up. The oldest daughter, Meredith, she's got her own family, her children also grown up, but she's still stuck in that mind where she's constantly trying to win the favor of her mother, because she's just never had it. And then you've got Nina, the younger daughter, who refuses to put roots down, refuses to acknowledge relationships, which is always living for the moment, because she doesn't have that security, that whole put my roots into the ground, because I think that's an issue she had growing up with, because she didn't feel like she had a place in her own house. And I think that was due to the issues that she had with her mother. So fast forward to a little bit more, and the story really begins when the father dies, and now there's the glue that held this whole family together is now gone. So these women have to kind of figure out their way in this family, and who they are as people, who they are to each other, and how to kind of heal and move forward in their lives as well as a family. And so to do this, the father had asked all three of them to kind of make a promise to him, and the first promise from the mother's side was to finish this fairy tale that she used to tell the girls when they were kids, but she would never finish it. I don't know if she wanted to or she couldn't get herself to, but she didn't finish the fairy tale. And this fairy tale is the key component in this whole story. And then you've got the two daughters, and they have been asked to make sure that your mother finishes the fairy tale. Like, you guys, no matter what happens, get her to finish the fairy tale, because you need to understand who she is and what she's about and like why she is the way she is. And also because of like, you need to take care of your mom, you know, when I'm gone, you don't have anyone else, it's just you three. Figure it out, take care of each other, that's it. That's what she wanted, like he wanted. So now we're getting into the like plot where she's telling a fairy tale, and the girl's like, yeah, we've heard this story before. And then suddenly it's like a bit of a switch goes off in the mother's mind, and it goes from being a fairy tale and saying things like, oh, this mystical bridge or the mystical place, and she actually starts putting in real locations. And these locations are actually Nazi occupied Soviet Union, right? So this is during the World War II of what like is now Russia. And this fairy tale is not actually a fairy tale. This is the mother's life. This is who she was before she had moved to America to be with like this family. And some of the stories that she covered in this, like Kristin Hannah, you could not believe. Like, I'm obviously this is like very real. These are things that people went through, like no food, no heating, no transport, no family. Like, the women have been left behind because any man that's over a certain age is able to like travel. But during all of this, during all of the Nazi occupation, they're also stuck with the fact that they are also under siege by Joseph Stalin, and obviously like he was pretty much a dictator in that time as well. So they're like struggling on two fronts. The people of Russia are struggling on two fronts. And now this woman, Vera, she has gone through loss like you could not imagine, like a person going through this much loss and still coming out of it. I wouldn't want to. Like, I read the book, obviously, and I was thinking, I would not survive in this. And I would not want to survive, because some of the things that she said, like people go through during this war, I'm like, I don't think I would fight that hard to stay alive. If I could die very easily, I would take it. Because she's gone through now the loss of, like, I'm going to go in order. She lost her dad at a young age. I think she was 15 or 16, she lost her dad. Then she lost her sister. Then she lost her grandmother. Then she lost her mother. Then she lost her youngest son. Then she lost her daughter and her husband. 7 losses. She's, not to mention, she's actually lost like her country, her house, her friends, her job, everything. She's gone through such loss, and she, at the end of it, she was like, I don't want to deal with this anymore. I want out. And she goes into like enemy territory. She goes up to Nazis and she's like, you know what, just kill me. I don't want to be here, just kill me. And instead of killing her, they took her to a concentration camp where she was liberated by the Allies, which is like America, England at the time. And she was taken by the husband at the time. His name is Evan. He took her into safety. She was really sick, like he nursed her back to health, and that's how she started this family, like with Nina and Meredith. There was some stuff in this book that I read, it made me it made me ill, because obviously there's no food, there's no water, that you're raising children, very young children. And she was like, at some point they needed warmth and they needed something. So what Vera did was she cut her finger and she gave the blood to her child as like something warm and nourishing. And I was like, that's too much for me. I could not do it, would not do it. So that's like how far Kristin Hannah takes it, to see if you can like deal with this kind of whatever. But yeah, she had me crying in the middle of a cafe once again, and it also like brings in dynamics of like husband and wife, and like where communication really matters, like how it affects the rest of your life when you have a poor relationship with your mother, but then also it kind of like it heals. There's a lot of healing along the way. It heals Vera, that she lost this family, but she's got like the family she's created in like in a safe environment. She's got those now. And then like the healing of Nina to be accepting of a relationship, and there's like changes in her of how to accept the love that she's getting from her partner. And then you've got Meredith, who's like communicating with her husband. She's like, this is what I want to do in this marriage, this is how I want to live, this is like, let's do this, let's be more open, let's like, you know. So there's a lot of change, there's a lot of healing. This book is a lot about loss and healing, and I think The Nightingale didn't have much of the healing part of it because it was loss. Up until the end it was just loss, but this one, towards the end of it, there was healing, and I thought that was really lovely. And it, like, sometimes you just need to pause, take a break, and you need to really gather your courage again to start reading this book, because it's not an easy read. Not an easy read. But it is a 10 out of 10. So I, once again, would love to commend Kristin Hannah on what an amazing author she is, to bring someone to tears, not once, but twice. And obviously I've got another book of hers, so I'm going to assume it's going to do the same thing to me. Yeah, so to kind of move away and heal my soul from that book, I'm now reading this book. And this is the classic of Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. This is Jane Austen's best book, best story, best female character by far. And I'm so excited to be reading it again. Like I told you, I had the book when I was growing up, but it was stolen by my cousins, so I had to buy a new one. So here it is, a new copy. And I'm excited to read on the book of, like, because I watch Pride and Prejudice, the 2005 version, so often. Once a month I watch it. Call me crazy, that's fine, I don't mind. But this is an exciting read for me. I'm not like, I'll give the reviews after I finish, obviously, but yeah. So that's it for this video, and yeah, so this is The Winter Garden by Kristin Hannah, a 10 out of 10 tragedy and healing book. And this is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, a classic novel by a really good author. So I'll be back next time with the review on this one, and I also think I need to start making my October TBR as well. Yeah. Until next time,